Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. In today's video, we're going to be doing a little scenic tour. We're over here in the beautiful Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we're going to be going and checking out a little piece of Michigan history, something that is a big part of U.S. infrastructure, and that is the Tilden and former Empire iron ore open pit mine. So this mine has been going around for quite a little while now, still in operation, probably will be in operation for another 15-20 years, if not more. And currently it is the only open pit mine still left in the state, and currently produces about 16% of U.S. iron ore production, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is. So we're here in the Piper, Dakota at Sawyer International. This is about as close as I could get. We're holding short of runway 1. We're going to be taking off runway heading, and then we are going to fly northwest a little bit. As soon as we get up in the air, you'll start seeing little parts of the mine. So without further ado, let's disengage the parking brake and let's get started. So this airport was formerly, and still is somewhat used by the U.S. military. Over pretty much directly in front of us, there is spots where they would have bombers sitting, tree type parking. But mainly it's now used for general aviation, and like I said, there's some military presence here. You'll see some C-130s and KC-135s going. Airspeed's live. Alright, got a good rate of climb. If we hit 90 knots, we'll retract the flaps. Go, flaps are up. This airport does have quite the long runway, but sometimes over here you'll see some military aircraft. It's pretty cool. But there is, I guess that's some general aviation. You can see two gates for terminal right there for the few that do fly out of here. But where we are going is over this way. You can see some water, what looks like water over there. That is actually a tailing pond. So we'll go ahead and start making our left-hand turn. We will be flying pretty low for this flight. We aren't going to be really doing too much. This is a sightseeing tour. I do like flying this aircraft. This aircraft feels really, really good to fly. I like the analog look. I prefer it in the smaller, lighter aircraft. I know a lot of folks, they prefer the G1000, the glass cockpits. I just like the way the analog looks and feels. So where we are flying to right now, and I'm actually going to get a little bit lower here. So this is one of the tailing ponds. So this is basically where runoff and excess stuff that they don't really need to process iron ore gets dumped over here, and you get closer to the ground, you'll actually notice that this this pond is actually split and is on 2 different elevations. It's kind of neat how they have it laid out. Up here in the Upper Peninsula, there are some quote-unquote mountains. Now that term can somewhat be subjective. We do have a few mountains that hit almost 2,000 feet in elevation. They're nothing compared to the Rockies or even the Appalachians or Himalayas or any other mountain range that you would classify as mountains. But here we are approaching one of the tailing ponds. You can see how over time it was built up. Looks like basically a retention pond. You see dirt goes taller than the tree line. As we fly closer, we're going to make a small right-hand turn. So this stuff, especially when you look at it on Google Earth or any type of satellite, this stuff is very orange. You can see it from pretty much anywhere. It's very disgusting water. It's not safe at all. As we approach here, you can see how it's built up on a different elevation here. The depths are about the same. Even in the flight sim, you can see the discoloration of the water. Looks all muddy and murky. That's because it basically is. So just on the other side of this tree line, we're actually going to see the hole, the big giant open pit that has been dug. So there are two mines that have been going on. The Empire mine, which is now currently not operating. That's the one we were going to go to first, and then we will go visit the Tilden mine, which is basically right next door. Just clearing the tree line, you can kind of see right over here. This is where the pit begins. Big building over here. That's where they will process everything. That's where all the raw material gets sent over and processed, and then it's loaded on a rail car and sent to Marquette, which is a town over yonder, and then it's shipped via Great Lakes freighters over to different U.S. steel mills. So that we're approaching the pits. One thing you'll notice is it'll have like a ribbed type structure. That's because as you dig, you kind of go down levels. So we're going to go to third person here. You can kind of see, like right down there, are some mining trucks, some different equipment. They're dumping overburden over here and around here. You can see just right there, the ribbed kind of structure to it. That's what you can tell is an open pit mine. And if we look over here, it goes down quite a bit. I'm not entirely sure of the depths. I couldn't really find too much information on it, on how deep this goes, but you can see just kind of how far they've gone with moving all of the scrap and overburden. And a little more power here. Just to get up without losing airspeed. Another little retention pond right here. Sometimes they hit lower or higher water tables, and that's what you'll see everything get filled up with. Let's just come around here. We'll spin around here, and then we will fly over the pit again. Little steep turn for this Piper, but it's handling it just fine. So this pit right here, this is the Empire mine. This was the original one that started over here. See, as we approach just how deep down this goes, there's even some equipment that's a big giant mining shovel. But you can see, you know, the open pit technique, the rib structure, how they dig out parts of the land. And then right here, like I said earlier, this is where everything goes, everything gets processed. Leftover scrap gets dumped over here, stuff that they can reuse. It's not modeled, but there are water tanks here. That's where stuff gets held. You can see there's some train cars right there, and that kind of loops around and goes towards the Tilden mine, which is where we are going next. Just to get over this little hill. And right over here is the Tilden mine. Now these are two separate pits. And it has its own little processing building right over here. You can see the stacks and the large building with all the processing materials. Here's one of the main pits, still being dug out to this day. Piece of equipment down there. And if we go right, there's another pit here, right there. Look altitude here. There's another pit that they're also digging out right here. They're eventually going to dig the rest of this out, and they're going to push back closer to the side of the natural terrain. And there are these little spots that we just passed over, and that's for the trucks to drive along. They can go from the Empire to the Tilden mine or wherever they need to go. Up here in the UP, it's very beautiful. Even with the mine right here, like small little lakes, and ponds and things deep in the woods. Just looks amazing up here. One of these days, I'll eventually visit myself. Here's more of that open pit style right here. This is all natural formation. They're starting to dig it out, as this area is pretty rich with iron ore. So as we fly back across, we're going to go by one of the loading zones where train cars come in and they'll be loaded up, and as I said earlier, they will ship everything off to Marquette, where there is a large dock, and then the Great Lakes freighters will ship them to different areas, and they will get sent off to U.S. steel mills for production. Right here, you can see some train cars, belts and everything to feed everything up. And then over here is another tailings holding area, as well as back that big body of water right there is also a tailing retention pond. And they have some smaller ones dotted around. It's a very, very unique piece of terrain, and it's modeled pretty well here in Flight Simulator. There is no added scenery or anything like that up here. I don't even think that's even available. So, with that being done, we are going to head back to Sawyer. We will land this little Viper. It's hard to tell with the amount of trees that are up here, but it's very hilly terrain. If I went a little more north out that direction, you'll find some even spikier terrain. Kind of funny with the way that flight sim works. If you have the land and sea traffic going, sometimes you see a little boat out there. It's on the tailing pond. Like, that's funny to see. And it's an old ship, like a 1700s ship. Interesting the way how that works out. Alright. Get this aircraft back on the ground. A couple miles out from where we have to go. Don't mind this. This was from when I was flying earlier. Did a run from Tokyo to Detroit. So this is where we gotta go, and it looks like we have an aircraft on approach. Gain a little bit of altitude here. Airfield pretty much directly in front of us. So the winds still favor runway 1. Thankfully this runway is long enough that even if we miss the proper touchdown zone, there's still plenty of runway left, especially for this aircraft to stop within the stop margin. So, gotta watch this aircraft here. That's if he's even coming into this airport. He might be flying up in the air right now. Could be an airliner. The only thing is that this EFB, it does not tell you. I can click on them all day, nothing will happen. So as we approach Sawyer International, I'm going to overfly the runway, just to kind of show what I was talking about when we first took off. The bomber stations, you can actually kind of see it right here. Could probably begin my downwind. Right there you can see the Christmas tree, pine tree style parking zones for when the bombers were here. There are no more. This airport's mainly used, as I said, for general aviation. You'll see some National Guard presence here and there. down. Add a notch of flaps. And let's begin final approach. Going in a little high. That's full flaps. Knots. Beautiful touchdown. Because we have such a long distance between taxiways, I'm just gonna let it coast. I'm not even gonna touch the brakes until I need to. Right, we are now clear of the runway. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you liked content like this, going up in the air and flying around. I do have some DLC scenery for the city of Detroit. If you guys are interested in that, I will take a helicopter out and we'll go fly around. We'll check it out. We'll check out how detailed it is. Some things that could be fixed, changed. Because since I live in the area, I can give some feedback on just the differences between how it's detailed in the game versus real life and things like that. Also have a couple other videos in mind. Flying in the mountains, doing airline flights, and I do have a few more aircraft reviews in the pipeline as well. So make sure to leave a like, comment down below what you want to see next. If you want me to go tour different parts of the US as a sightseeing tour, whether it be cities, monuments, what have you. Also make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so then you know when the next video goes up. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.